I bet you are having a good week. I most certainly am. It is Talking Buccaneers with me, Fumane after Orlando Pirates qualify for the Nedbank Cup final, dismantling Kaizer Chiefs, the not-so-mighty Kaizer Chiefs. Before I dive right into that, I'd just like to start by apologizing. I know some people expected that I'd drop a few videos, past few games. A lot of things happened, a lot of things worth talking about. Being a small channel means that I don't have, or rather, I am sustained by, money coming out of my own pocket. So yeah, when things fall apart, it might take a while to get them fixed. I had a bit of a tech issue that I needed to get fixed. I did a few videos. I've actually done previews and reviews of all the matches. I think it's a bit of a pointless thing to drop them now, and it's going to take a bit of time to upload them. So maybe I'll upload them during the off season. At least some of the interesting things that I feel that I said and mentioned in those games. But finally, I'm back again. Sorry, guys. Thank you for supporting still. Thank you for watching still. I just had to get things fixed to talk about this match and some of the things that have been going on in our club. So, let's jump right into it. I think I've heard a lot of people, definitely Chiefs fans, have been saying to me, especially Chiefs fans, have been saying that, Chiefs was the better team in that game. I mean, I see it a bit differently because I've also heard some Buccaneers saying the same thing. I actually think it's a case of the expectations being very high for Pirates. I think we've gotten to a place where everyone sort of expects that we will dominate games, we will win them, which we keep doing. We'll win them, and people have low expectations, rightfully so, for the small Kaizer Chiefs. And I think it's a case of that. I don't think Kaizer Chiefs was dominating us, definitely not. I think we suffered a few scares from Saile, but as we all knew, he's not a good player. They don't have any good players in their team. So we survived a few scares from Dupree as well, who's just an athletic player, in my opinion. Not any good at all, just very fast. And besides that, I don't know what people are talking about that Chiefs was dominating us, except maybe a few passes in their own half, which I'll get to a bit of why I think that was. But I think it was a case of the game was very frantic. It was sort of end to end. Chiefs were just launching the ball to the wings, launching it to Ashley Dupree, who I think Paseka Mako, honorable mention for him, dealt with aplomb. I think Mako is my personal fighter. I've been on this platform and spoken about him. I can't stop talking about him because I love him so much. I think he's the best left back in the league. Unfortunately, he's being played out of position. He's played at right back, so it means that you don't have a great right back because he's sort of a makeshift right back. I mean, the work ethic is still there, the heart and just the desire is still there when he's playing at right back. But I think you limit some of his qualities going forward because he's got to compensate and sort of come back to his left foot. So he can't do things like he would on the left. He can't play balls first time. He can't go out wide as he wishes. He's got to almost come inside and play as an inverted fullback, or one that's very conservative, not going all the way to the byline. And you've got Saleng, who's kind of doing the same thing, coming inside onto his left foot. So it sort of, limits us on the right in terms of our quality on the right. I don't think we get that much quality except when Saleng and Lorch will do that thing of switching positions, and Lorch comes to the right wing and then he'll almost play on that wing. And I saw it again. You might have saw it again also when we had Ratomo versus what was that team again? That rich team, Royal AM. When we're playing against Royal AM, Ratomo as well would almost hug the touchline. I can't remember if Was it? No, I think Shandu was playing in that game. It wasn't Munyan. It wasn't Paseka Marco. But yeah, in previous games you've seen when Lodge kind of goes out wide, then Marco will almost come and field as an inverted fullback, which at least that kind of works a little bit. But when you're playing Saleng and you're playing Marco on the right, it's a bit of a a redundant thing to do. And so yeah, he started on the left in the Soweto derby. He would follow Dupree in the second half to the right side when Dupree got sent to the other side, which I thought was so fascinating for me to watch. But great work by Paseka Marco in the Soweto derby. Just as always, he's always just 7.5 out of 10 every week, except on weeks where he's like a 9. And I think in the derby he was an 8, 9, just high up. So Chiefs, back to the point again, Chiefs weren't offering anything that I thought was scary, except that, again, those counterattacks, which I anticipated before the game, I thought they would be dangerous with that. And they were. They always are, because obviously Dupree is super fast. I think he might be the fastest player in the league. He's just really, really fast. Sahil is also very fast, but really aren't good on the ball. They honestly aren't. Sahile is just, a comedy to watch. The chances that he was missing. Chiefs could have buried us first half, but they didn't because they just don't have the quality on the pitch. Enough about that. Last thing I want to say about the derby, especially, is that Tim was again amazing. It's also, wonderful to watch just week in, week out, how much of an important player he's grown into. I think he's always been an important player, but now it's almost like he's undroppable in that midfield. Because if I think about, okay, if you dropped him, what will you get in that midfield? Who will you play? Ndlondlo has been disappointing quite a bit. I think maybe it's the not playing consistently, but I think when he was playing consistently, he started doing some things that are not, I thought he was losing the ball a lot. I think he's trying out things. He makes wrong decisions. He'll hold on to the ball where he should release it. He'll try and turn and keep it and things like that. So I think he's lost his place because of that. But Tim and Munari have been brilliant. Just past few games, consistency. Munari, and they're also a very good partnership in that they complement each other very well. When Munari keeps the ball and he keeps it ticking with the simple passes, Tim is the one who will play those line-breaking passes now. He plays those long passes. He'll switch play where Munari is a bit safe in possession. He's also more of the box-to-box Munari. In past games, I've seen just quite how he'll make that third man run or that late run into the box or just at the edge of the box waiting for things to come onto a finish. And I think they formed quite an interesting dynamic in that midfield. So Makaula in the second half or extra time, I can't remember when he was introduced. I think he was also a warrior. I think he's one who was winning the ball, and I've always thought of him as that player. He's the ball winner in that midfield. But you've got to have someone who's more risky if you're going to play someone like Makaula. So I don't think Makaula and Munari would work in that regard, because then you sacrifice the adventure, the inventiveness in midfield. And you've got a bit of a workhorse, a makeshift midfield that's there to just protect. And so, I think Tim is undroppable at this point, because I don't quite trust Ndlondlo yet, at least for the rest of the season. We've got a very important run of games that we've got to win, including the final now. And I'm not sure if I trust Ndlondlo to be the player who plays in that midfield. So just wanted to say, wonderful again to see Tim. My only concern about Tim and Munari, which I'll come on to because I've got quite a packed show actually. No, I don't know if you can see my notes. It's actually 2 pages. Quite a few things that I want to go over. But my major concern about Tim is just his age, is that we've signed a player who's 31. And it's not every player who can play till 35. Most players will start to be on the decline of their best years around 32, 33. Some will go to 35, 36, 37, 38. We know those freaks of nature, the Hlompo Kekanas and stuff. But most players really just, start to to decline around 32, 33. So it might mean that we've got him for what, 1, 2, 3 seasons maximum. Munari as well is also 33, 34 now. Makaula is 33, 34. And so that's the only concern that I've got about that midfield. Otherwise, I think they are really solid in midfield. We've got a really solid midfield at Pirates at the moment. And yeah, so next point that I want to talk about, just major congratulations, I think well deserved for Jose Rivero. I don't know if it's Jose, I think it's Jose because he's Spanish. Jose is more like Portuguese. It's Jose Rivero. Yeah, just congratulations to our head coach winning the April Coach of the Month. Well deserved. I think we've had a brilliant month or more. I think we've had a brilliant 2 months, actually. I think results-wise, he deserves it. He deserves it because we've just been grinding out results. And again, in this game, I thought, we're not the most amazing. We're not playing the best football. Actually, maybe let me get onto that before I move on to Jose Rivero. I think one of the issues why Pirates was so ineffective, especially seeing the team sheet come out. Well, first thing is I'm looking for the name Thembinkosi Lorch, number 3, and he's not there. And I'm really disappointed because I'm thinking this is our match winner. This is our guy. This is our big game player. When the likes of Saleng and all of them go missing, Lorch is that guy. Lorch is just the one who will drag everyone and win the game single-handedly. I'm looking at him and I'm going, he's not there. Major concern for me. So next thing, who's playing? How are we playing? I see Chukwamanja and Erasmus, which we've never seen, that pairing, that partnership together. And my thought is, okay, maybe Chukwamanja will play as a 10 and Dlamini more as a wing, or Chukwamanja will go to the wing because I think he can do that sort of thing. And then you'll have Erasmus as the lone striker, and then Dlamini behind him, because I really don't trust Dlamini on the wing. And I was proven correct, actually, because how we sort of played, I think we played a 4-4-2 hybrid, sort of 4-5-1, depends how you look at it. Chukwamanja was actually the out-and-out striker. When we're pressing Chiefs, we're almost pressing with a 2 and a 4 behind them, and then obviously the back 4. Yeah, I thought, it was interesting because Erasmus was the one who was dropping into the 10, which makes a lot of sense, especially creatively wise. I think I know he goes on to score as the one who's in the 6-yard box, but I think for most of the game, he was almost operating in the half space, and Chukwamanja as the one who's out and out as the striker. And then you had Kabelo Dlamini on the left, which I thought did not work at all. I think especially for this game, for just how frantic it was, how quick the game was. It was 120 kilometers an hour, the speed of that game. And for someone like Kabelo Dlamini, who, I've been here trying to, make a case for him, thinking, there's something there. When he's not good on the ball, which he really is, actually, let's be honest about that. He really is. He's got moments where he seems like he's a brilliant player, but he's never really produced to where we think, okay, you can't drop this player. But when he's not good on the ball, he's just you've got to carry him in the team. He's slow in the transition moments. He's not someone who's quick on the 1-2. He's not quick on seeing the pass and passing it same time. He's not quick on the ball. He's not someone who will carry it for you. So, the game is almost like going past him the whole time. He's not that great defending. He's not that defending attacker kind of player as well, which you need to be as a modern creative player. You've got to be good on the pressing side of things, because a lot of teams will be building up from the back, and so you've got to be good at pressing, giving us that front line, that first line of defense. And I think Kabelo Dlamini is not that player as well, so he starts to be someone who we need to carry in the team. And I'm really shocked that the coach isn't seeing that. I thought, I think he in the easier games that we get to play in the league, he'll sometimes be promising because he'll show on the ball quality every now and again in little spells here and there. But I think the persistence is something that's not deserved, to have him over and over and over in the starting lineup, which is actually might lead me to the point that I don't want to talk about now, maybe a bit later, in that you've got Vincent Pule on the bench, you've got Lebogile Ratomo now, who's emerged on the bench, which I'll get onto a bit later in the show. And Soweto as well. I mean, yeah, those are the options that you've got. But I think the game was so fast and Kabelo Dlamini was not working at all, which I thought he wouldn't, especially on the left side, because in the middle, it's almost like he's, I don't know, he can hide. He gets to hide when he's playing in the middle. But on the left, especially having to, help Marco out on that left side of defense, you just thought, where's Dlamini? What is he doing? Why is he on the pitch? And even just our formation, I think, allowed Chiefs to have a lot of the ball, especially the two centre backs and the two midfielders, or three of them. Who's this boy? The Zwane boy and Sitebe and Mart. I think they had a lot of time, especially sort of in their half, to kind of have the ball and look up and play those passes to Dupree. But other than that, I don't think they were creative at all. I don't think they were dangerous at all. I don't think they were sort of dominating us or moving us around or anything like that. I don't think we were moving them around as well. We kept the ball here and there, obviously saw a brilliant line-breaking pass from Tim. I think Saleng did well. Saleng is just great at, shaking defenders off, dropping his shoulder, having that quick burst, that quick acceleration on the ball, getting into the box. Just fortunate that his shot was saved into Erasmus or onto Erasmus' path, who then tapped it in for our first goal. But other than that, we also weren't that dangerous. We weren't that threatening of their goal as well. I think they were more threatening of our goal with the chances that they created, big chances that they missed or Saile missed. And moving on from the derby, it's past news now. We get to celebrate it that we've won. We've won actually the important one. Chiefs has taken 6 points from us this season. But seeing that we are above them in the league, it's like, it starts to be pointless. Their wins, they are irrelevant because we are above them on the league for that CAF Champions League spot, that second spot, and also the one that matters to qualify for the final and actually win a trophy. They've lost, so that's great news for us, Buccaneers. So continuing on my point about Jose Rivero, I think he deserves it in that he's turned us into this team that keeps on getting points, just without fail, getting the 3 points, getting the wins, qualifying for things, having a tough game against All Stars or Venda Football Academy or Dondal Stars, but in the end, getting the result, getting to the next round. And, shout out to someone like Mtetwa as well, who I know has had a bit of a not promising Pirates career, but he's come back at age 26, right in his mid-20s, where I think he's it's the time to mature maybe as a player, and he's having the time of his life, scoring the winning penalty against Dondal Stars and now winning the Soweto derby for us, getting us into the final. Shout out for him. He's someone I never rated when he wasn't playing for Pirates. I think he's making a case for himself, especially in the absence of Nda, who I'll get on to talk about also. It's lovely to see our squad players coming in and having that impact, and Ndlondra as well coming on and providing the assist. That's just amazing. And credit to our coach. I think the first thing is moving from that 3-3 at the back system to the 4, I think has done wonders for us. I think it suits us more as a team. It's made us very solid, even though I've got some players that I've got questions over in our starting 11, but I think as a system, as a collective, as a team, we are very solid. We just don't know how to lose games. When I think about Pirates, I think the mighty black boys that just can't lose games. They don't know how to lose. Sometimes they don't know how to win fancy, especially. They will win games actually, but they don't win fancy. But what they don't know to do is to lose games. They just don't know how to lose, and which is amazing. And I think it's something that's going to take us a long way if we keep that sort of thing going, where going into the next season, being solid, but then going from that, building block of being solid at the back, being solid as a collective, being one, and then going out and having these match winners like Lorch, Saleng, and others that I hope to see next season, which we'll get onto again in the show. So yeah, I think massive congratulations to the team. The head coach for that. I think he's probably the one who deserves the credit for that. And just last thing about the coach, listening to, last few things. One, listening to him speak on the media. I think he's someone that I enjoy listening to him. I enjoy his perspective of what's going on in the team, how he describes the team. I think he's described the Pirates team as humble but ambitious, which I think it's an interesting way to put it. I think that's what we see, actually. It seems like these guys are very humble. There's not someone who's like the superstar. If you think about people like Saleng, he's very humble. He's very, down to earth. He's not grabbing although his performances on the pitch are grabbing all the attention. Lodge every now and again. People like Sbisi, Koki every now and again will have great performances. Tim will have a great performance here. Munari will get a great performance here. But it's almost like it's the Pirates team. It's doing well. There's no one who's being bigger than the team and things like that. And I love that about us. I think that humility of the team, but being ambitious as well, is going to serve us well. I think the ambition needs to next season, I was listening to Saleng speaking during the week, and he was saying something about his own ambition was to win the PSL, the DStv Premiership, and I think that's a massive shout. That's a great ambition to have with that yellow team from Pretoria in the league, because you just know that they've also got a machine that's just built to take trophies. That's the thing. But I think that ambition from our players, they've got to keep it going, and it's got to be backed by the club. It's got to be backed by the board, by the head coach making the right decisions like he has done in moving to the fore. Now it's a case of identifying some of those weak spots on our squad, some of which I'll get on to talk to. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not leaving cliffhangers all over the place, but I will. I just feel like I'm being... I'm just being ahead of myself in mentioning some of these things. But I think the coach deserves credit. He deserves credit again for, I think when I listen to the players talk about him, and when you see those clips, those behind the scenes clips, which someone might say they're staged, but, catching some players talk about him. I've heard Erasmus say a few things about him and other players, just how they revere him. No pun intended, being Rivero, how they revere him, how they love him, how he's taken the time to learn about their individual cultures, their backgrounds, where they come from, and just how you'll see how he tries to, connect with the fans and things like that. I think it's amazing. I've said this on this platform. For those of you that were around at the time when I had around 10 people listening, I still have 10 people listening, but that's not the point. I've said this, that as a Pirates coach, you need to be sort of like you've got to be a figure that's a powerful figure. Like Pirates has always had and needs a coach who will handle the expectations of the fans, be able to, manage expectations of fans, manage the board as well, which is something that I don't know if Rivero is at that point. There's talks about, him being sort of puppeteered by the board and things like that, but we can't know those things for sure, obviously. But he's got to be someone who's, firm and gets to, stand his ground about things, and his ways and his philosophies and his, and be able to influence the players. That's the other thing. You've got to have a coach whom the players respect, and that's something that I'm sensing when I listen to the players talk about him. So that's just one of the other things that I wanted to mention. I think massive congratulations, massive shout out for that. I love that. I love when things like that are happening, because it's just going to galvanize the squad. It's building the chemistry. We trust them more. The board might trust them more, and long may that continue. And so I want to get on to the more interesting part of this for me anyway. I hope this is interesting for you. I hope the last few minutes of this podcast have been interesting, but I think this is more of the interesting thing that I wanted to, try out and talk about. I think I'll do more on it off season, just to give you guys content, but to kind of have these conversations going and things like that, figure out where we want the team to go. But I thought maybe I'd start this week because there've been a couple of things that have been in the media and out there. People have been saying things, some newspaper articles have written about certain things that are happening in the club, some of which I will not talk about. Like, for example, the Floyd Mbele situation. I think I want to do some research around that first before I've got a bit of an idea and what's kind of going on and things like that. I've heard things here and there, but I guess I want to get some more information before I come out here and talk to you guys and we have a conversation about it. But yeah, today news broke. Well, I don't know who broke the news, but I read it from Itiski Times. And the news were that Pirates are rumored to have confirmed the signing of TS Galaxy goalkeeper Melusi Buthelezi. Some of you might know him. He got called up to the squad by Hugo Bros. And will be joining the club, the squad, at the end of the season in preparation for next season. And I mean, it was a bit of a shock for me. Well, not so much, but the fact that we signed him. There've been talks around which sounded crazy, but you never know what could happen in this league. There were talks around Pirates will sign like Dumela Nkune because they're not looking for a number one goalkeeper, seeing that Shaheen is doing well. I thought what Pirates would be going for would be someone to replace Mponchane, someone whose contract has come to the end, and Pirates I don't think are looking to sign him again. It seems like he will be leaving Pirates at the end of the season. So I thought that maybe go for someone of that age and someone of that experience who's going to be more in the background, helping the younger goalkeepers in the goalkeeping department. So it was a bit of a surprise signing, Melusi Buthelezi, 25 years of age, because Sipho Shaheen is 26, and then you've got Tuntsane, I hope I'm saying that correct, who's 23 years old, who I've never seen. To rate him, but just by age alone, I think we've got a good age of goalkeeper in Shaheen, in that he's going to mature and get better and better, and Tuntsane as well. So I thought we'd go for an older goalkeeper. There's been talks, and well, I believe them in that Pirates have been unable to resolve the contract issue of Richard Ofori, who's coming to the end of his contract at the end of June. 2023, so his contract is expiring. The rumors have been that what Ofori and sort of his representation are wanting for him to extend his contract with Pirates. Pirates are not matching that, so there's a bit of a mismatch. I think it's a case of maybe Pirates not rating him as highly as he and his representation rate him, which that happens all the time. I think he's a decent goalkeeper. I've said this. I think Ofori is a decent goalkeeper, but if you look at sort of where we're going, the direction that we're going in terms of our goalkeeper and how we need him to be like, especially on the pitch, I've said that I've bumped into Ofori and I think he's an amazing guy. And you see him, he's got a bit of an influence in the dressing room. I know he's one of the leaders. He's very vocal on the pitch, and I think he's quite a likable guy when you look at some of the stuff that comes out of the players in the dressing room and things like that. He's quite a likable guy. Also very experienced goalkeeper, international, Ghanaian international. But with the direction that we're going as Pirates, how we need our goalkeeper to play like, especially with starting the ball at the back, joining the build-up phase. I think Shaheen has been a revelation for us, even though I've said, and I still say that I'm still not quite sure about his passing, because I think he'll join the play well. Shaheen, he'll be that extra man for us to build up from the back. However, he'll almost kick the balls out, just like Ofori. But other than that, I think he's quite good at his feet. He keeps it. He can, join the build-up, receive it, and pass it, and things like that. It's just the long passing that is a bit of a, is he good for me? Is he that good? Do I rate him that highly? Is it something that he can improve on? Maybe, yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, we've signed Melusi. Well, rumored to have signed Melusi Buthelezi, who's going to join, who's 25. And I think, some have been asking me that do I think he's being signed as a number one goalkeeper? Is he being signed as a number two? I think it's a case of they're going to battle it out, which is good. I think it's great that we've got that, especially if it's not going to upset one. And then with goalkeepers, that's rare, but yeah, it's great if you've got two top-class goalkeepers in your squad, because the last thing you need is when one gets injured, then we start shipping in goals and we've got to change how we play because the other goalkeeper's not good. He doesn't fit our style and things like that. So if you've got Shaine, who's sort of staked his claim as number one, Pirates number one right now, if you've got Buthelezi pushing him in training, that's great. I think that's going to be great for us. I think he's coming in as a number two principally, but we don't know what's going to happen in the off season. Maybe they might discover that, maybe he's more suited to how we play or want to play next season. I think the preseason might help, but I think going into next season, Shaina will probably start again if he doesn't get injured or anything like that. If nothing happens in the off season, I think he's going to start the season and he's going to have another good goalkeeper pushing him. So that's great for us. And yeah, I was definitely happy about that signing. Hey Buccaneer, so this is me after recording the episode, and I just realized this is a very long episode. So I'm just going to make this into a two-part episode. So what you've just seen is part one, and looking forward to seeing you in part two. Cheers.